Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to school. I remember that statement about 300 years ago when I was a student and where I basically thought about slashing my wrist because who wanted to go back to school? But that's a kid thing. And we have a question right up here on the board. I might as well handle this right away. Diane, we see your question. And no, Diane, I'm sorry, I'm happily married, so you could. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was a different, strange question. Okay, now Diane want to know, will this webinar be available for download at a later time? And yes, Diane, it will be available, probably on Monday, when our tech wizard and yours truly get their act together and get the download done and get the response ready for all of you guys. So again, welcome everyone. We have today a record crowd, Mr. Tony.
All right, as we want.
Yeah, this is the biggest crowd that we have ever had on a webinar as the Sun is Life series continues to grow. And as you know, this is brought to you by Sun is Life, division of IST Magazine. We are very proud to be part of all of it. This is very satisfying to have this many people on. And of course, we're going to be talking about the back to school period today. It is one of the more overlooked opportunities in the tanning calendar. But let's go through, of course, some housekeeping notes. And obviously our Diane, who's made a note on here, she already understands that she can talk in the chat box because the audio transmission is one way. And it's going to last about 60 minutes. There'll be a brief Q&A at the end. And if you want to reconnect, just dial the webinar invite. And the recording should be available on Monday. And again, brought to you by IST Magazine and Mr. Tony Brown. And there he is. It's the John and Tony Show. I changed my picture, Tony. I felt I needed to look more. I mean, you look so distinguished. I figured I needed to look more professorish.
Well, I think it works for you there, John.
No, I think what it works for me is it makes me look older, which is what an
dignified,
ego. Okay.
Not older, it's dignified, wise.
Dignified. I like that. And speaking of speaking of intelligent, we didn't use the word intelligent for me, but David, you're on the phone. Our tech wizard. Are you there, sir?
Hey, everybody.
Okay, well,
I'm here.
Your voice sounded kind of high there. I thought maybe you were
hey, everybody
or something. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so one quick, and we're going to make this quick because people in the past have said, hey, don't be trying to do too many plugs, so we're not going to do that. But, you know, if you need certification and some education for your employees, go to Sun is Life, and there is the connection there. And we really could use some likes. Tony was just telling me about the likes, and the likes have gone up dramatically on the Facebook for Sun is Life. We really appreciate you guys doing that. We really appreciate your support. Okay, let's get right into the meat of it because last time one of our folks said, you know, John, you've been shooting your mouth off for 20 minutes and we haven't even talked about the subject. And I can't remember who said that, but I thanked him at the time. And I want you guys to know that when I listen to the replay and I look at your polling results we get done, I take it very seriously because Tony and I and David, we are here to help you, and so we don't want to spend a lot of time with stuff that doesn't seem to pertain to you. But here's something that does pertain to you, two major back-to-school demographic opportunities. And those two opportunities are the moms of school-aged children and, of course, college-bound students, and, of course, some high school students in those states where it hasn't been totally outlawed by the dermatology folks and the Pope himself, I swear. But these are two demographics what we should be talking about today. So before I go, though, I've also had a lot of questions from folks about the future Sun is Life webinar topics. So here you go. August the 22nd, which is 2 weeks from today, we're going to talk about delegation. And if you're a manager and owner and you have employees, you need to know how to hand out duties and tasks without people thinking that you're just job loading. And so we're going to help you with that, make you a better leader. And then on the 5th of September, this is going to be a good one. I'm kind of looking forward to this. This is for managers only. This doesn't mean that owners can't be on this, and some of you owners are owner managers, but we're really going to guide this towards salon owners, or salon managers, I should say, and get them to think like an owner so they can get big compliments, owners' confidence, And if you want to run the show, you got to think like an owner. And I'm sure the owners that are on this right now are saying, yeah, John, tell them that, because that's what we want them to think like. And as a bonus, there'll be a section in the webinar called Managing Your Boss. I've had to do that seminar a few times over the years, and it's always kind of funny and always entertaining, because we've all had to work for bosses, and some of them may be more pleasant than others. Now, I want you to know that I do have the question screen up, and I'm looking at it, and I promise I won't screw it up. So as we go on here, feel free to chat in the box, say anything you like. John, you're an old fart. Shut up. Let Tony talk. Whatever you want to say, just put it on there. Okay, also coming up in our webinars on the 19th, the burning issues of employment law. I've found in working in this business for the last 23 years that there's an awful lot of misguidance on what you can or cannot do, whether it's in interviews or in firing people or just the day-to-day basics of managing your folks. You want to do it in a management legal way, and this comes from a book I wrote in 2008 called The Burning Issues of Employment Law. And by the way, I want you to know that once we get our act together, we're putting together a series of what we call e-tools, and it's going to come in it's going to look like it's in a little toolbox, and I'm going to be downloading The Burning Issues of Employment Law at no charge. What a wonderful person I am. At no charge. It's 106 pages of legal stuff you should or should not be doing for your salon. And I am going to be downloading that for everyone that shows up at that webinar. So that's kind of a little inducement for you to not just sign up, but to also show up. That's what we'd like to see. So let's go on here, and you can see the other webinars that are coming up. More future ones. October the 3rd, special edition of Marketing Muscle, and that's radio. We've never really covered that before. I've been doing that baby for 43 years, and I'm going to show you how you can get radio strategies to put together. And there are, by the way, surprisingly, a lot of people in this industry, even small markets, actually more small markets than large markets, that do radio. And I'll absolutely guarantee you that's one thing that nobody is my peer in, because I've been negotiating radio for 43 years, won a few awards, blah, 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 and of course there we're advertising me. Let's go on to the next one, though. October the 17th is the Wall of Fame. This is really going to be a good webinar. It's about education and certification, what critical elements they are in today's indoor tanning business, especially when you figure all of the publicity we got out there that's not always flattering. And new employees as well as your veterans, they need to be prepared professionally. And that's, I think, what I'm really excited about with the direction this business is going. And I'm not saying it just because His Royal Eminence Tony is on the phone here. It is because this is where the industry really needed to go. We needed to get professional, and this is what we're going to do. And you're going to see how this all works out and how we help employees to display their tanning academic achievements to get to that Wall of Fame. And so get ready to view a comprehensive content of the Sun is Life program. And it's not going to be just some advertising or sales pitch. Tony is going to walk through it, and I'll be his color commentator as opposed to the other way around. And I'm sure there'll be times he'll just plain tell me to shut up. Okay, so now we move on to the next webinars. And we've got some others coming up here. I know that a lot of people wanted to know what we had come up in the future. Now, by the way, this next one, Planning the Financial Future of the 2014 Peak Season, we've analyzed and redirected more than 500 tanning salon financial goals and resulting profits. Don't miss this breakdown, how to get sales growth and profits and how to achieve them. Now, here's my question for you, and you've got your chat box open. Now, it's scheduled for the 31st, which we know is Halloween, and Halloween can be a very big day for spray tans, which I never did understand, by the way. A lady comes in, and she's dressed up as a Catwoman. Everything on her body is entirely covered. She gets a spray tan. She puts this costume on, and the only thing you can see is a little bit around her eyes because she's got a cat mask on. So am I to guess that she wants that tan okay, well, we'll just, anyway. So, anyway, Halloween is the 31st. You guys tell me if you want to give me a comment in the chat box. Should we move the seminar? And Tony, I haven't talked to you about this yet either, but should we move it to Wednesday the 30th? Because I think Fridays are kind of tough for people, but should we do it? We usually do them on Thursday. Should we do this one on Wednesday the 30th? Because I know that people get a little busy on that Halloween date, and if you people want to comment, Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, well, let's get some comments and see what they think.
Yeah, okay. Here, Matt Riccaro says move it to Wednesday the 30th. Erica Knoll says Wednesday the 30th. Amanda Puff says Wednesday. Here's somebody else that's made a request. I'm sorry, Lisa, the computer won't fit. Here's another one that says move it before the 30th. Ah, well, that's an interesting thought. Huh. Okay.
Maybe that Tuesday. Well, Tuesday.
Bianca, you suggested moving it before the 30th. I like your comment. Is that maybe because we could talk about what you can do on Halloween to get business going, and if we give you a couple days, you can set things up? I'm just trying to read through it there. Boy, the comments are coming in good. Move it, move it. Oh, here's somebody that says 30th. Marlene says 31st is fine for me. And don't listen to the rest of those turkeys. No, Marlene didn't say that. I made that part up. Okay. But here's some other people that are saying move it to the 30th. And, Bianca, when I said, do you want to move it to the, well, here, who said move it? Okay. Yep, move it to the, okay, Bianca said move it before the 30th. And I said, would that give you time to prep for Halloween promotions, which we can go over? And Bianca said, yes, that would help. So, see, Wednesday 30th is fine, or even a week before. Oh, Kim is saying Wednesday the 30th is fine, or even a week before would be better. Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, okay. And Matt, I saw
spray
you.
Tan on during.
What's that?
They might be getting their spray tans on that Wednesday before the Halloween parties at work and stuff. So.
And here's one of our clients chimed in, Mr. Alex. Good afternoon, Mr. Alex. By the way, Alex, I know you can't answer back, but you do look lovely today. He's saying the 30th is one of the busiest spray tan days of the year, and I believe he could be right. So maybe I'll go back to Kim, who said that maybe in the week before would be better. So, Mr. Tony, that would mean you and I would have a webinar on the 17th and then one on the 24th.
Well, if we do it the week ahead of time, that gives everybody the weekend to forget about it. How about if we do it on that Monday?
Okay. What's Monday would be the 28th? Am I getting that right? Yeah, that'd be the 28th. What does anybody think about doing? Because this, by the way, this webinar we're talking about right now is a very important one, probably one of the most important preseason webinars, planning your financial future, because we're going to go over numbers. And for, I see several of you people that are on here have been clients of mine. You know how anal I am about looking at those numbers and planning out your goals, and you know what a big difference it can make. So, okay, so let me know.
Let's poll them again. Let's say the Monday the 28th. Does that work for everybody?
Marlene is saying the 28th would be fine. Oh, Matt disagrees. Matt disagrees because after all, Monday, that would be Monday Night Football. Geez, Matt, I tend to agree with you on that. Really, nothing gets in the way of my Monday Night Football. Although if we do it at, we're doing this at 3 o'clock Eastern. I mean, you know, if you're from Minnesota, you can always wait to watch the Vikings lose. Oh, I shouldn't say that. And I'm a Minnesota fan, so I get to say that. Okay, so a couple others are saying that. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll talk this over. You guys have given us a lot of great responses here. And we'll talk this over. We'll try to make a decision. But I think the most important thing, Tony, is they're saying October 31st does not work. So We'll get to that. All right, November 14th, prepping the team for the 2014 season. Now, this is the time, guys. We're getting down to only 6 or 7 weeks before the curtain goes up on the new year, and it's time to get rid of slow sellers and people that are just not suited for the indoor tanning selling business. We need to recruit some, and I'll go back to Matt's comment. We'll go back to talking about football there. We need to recruit some first-round draft choices to beef up your sales. So this session will include best practices for recruiting, interviewing, and hiring. Now, we did something like that earlier in the year, but I don't think you can almost have too many webinars on recruiting, interviewing, and hiring. It's just an awful lot that has to be remembered there. By the way, Marlene brings up, what about holiday promos for Christmas? We had inserted in here, I had inserted in here, Tony, a webinar on holiday promos, and it was just very difficult to get all the subjects in here, but now that I'm seeing some reaction from some folks, 7 or 6 until New Year, that Chinese New Year. Well, Matt, Matt, I'm not sure if, Matt, do you have a beer in your hand right now? I'm just kind of curious by your question. 6 or 7 weeks until New Year, is that Chinese New Year? Well, I was kind of thinking it might be our New Year, but okay, December 5th, the Sun is Life webinars, greatest hits of 2013. What I'm going to do with that is we're going to have a compendium. I just love that word, Tony, compendium. It's such a 50-cent word. We're going to do the best tips, secrets, and keys for more than 20 webinars of the 2013 tanning calendar. And I think this is really going to be a great primer for going into the 2014 season. So gang, that's the lineup. And believe me, if you want to give us some more comments about other subjects you'd like to see, such as Marlene said, how about holiday promos for Christmas? So believe me, I'm absorbing that, Marlene. Yeah, promotion of the Friday before Halloween. We are 5 college and a couple. Okay, all right. So anything that you've got that you want us to work on for the next webinar series, just let us know. And I'm already being chided because we're taking too much time talking about this stuff. So, all right, so we're going to move on. Here we go. Webinar polls, let's find out who's out there, David, as far as managers, owners, salon size.
Okay, we have it up there right now. So folks, just go ahead and click on owner or manager on your screen. This one is not in the chat box there, so just click on your screen with your mouse or your finger. And we've got 60% of the vote in. We'll just give it a few more seconds here so we give everyone a chance to chime in. All right, we'll close it down in 3, 2, 1. And the results are in. We have 41% owners today, and we have 59% managers.
Okay. And then one more, and I think we're just going to do one more poll, David. We'll do it on the size of the salon, and I think we'll forget the other polls so we can move on, because I think Rusty made a comment here, and Rusty, I agree with you. We need to move on.
Okay, so number of salons in your tanning company, 1, 2 to 5, or 6 plus. And we'll just go ahead and give folks just a few more seconds. Close it down in 3, 2, 1. And the results are in. The one salon, we have 58%. 2 to 5 salons, 23%. And 6 plus, we have 19%.
Okay. All right. So that's so much for the polls. Back to school. So what do we do for mom? And why mom? Why are we doing something for mom? Well, over the summer, for any of you that have children, I have 4 children. One of them is on this call right now. I'll have to be careful what I say about him. But I have 12 grandchildren, and when you're around that over the summer, basically wanting to lose your mind or have a Valium or something like that, we know that mom needs a break. So it's a good time to go after mom's desire to escape or to get some indulgence. And with kids, particularly your kids back in school, mom now has a little bit more discretionary time, maybe. That could be kind of a laugh. Some of you that are stay-at-home moms also trying to run a tanning business might be laughing at that, but you might have a little bit more discretionary time. September cools down, and the idea of tanning back inside becomes more, or makes more sense. So it's just when it's 99 degrees and the humidity is about the same. And of course, as everybody knows, it's hard to think about tanning. Vacations and family trips are over, and now maybe mom can think a little bit more about herself, a little bit more self-indulgence. Fall brings events. These are events for tanning, usually for both UV or spray, such as there are fall weddings, there's homecomings, reunions, football games, homecomings, mom wants to see if Biff looks like what he did 20 years ago, and take my word for it, he won't. Okay, so back to school. So what to do for mom? So here's some packages. Here's some ideas. What I like to see is a tanning reintroduction package, such as a tour package, price of all tan levels. Well, let's just assume that if you tanned in every one, you had 5 levels, and you tanned in every one of those beds, a single price would be, say, $159. And so, and this, again, this will vary from salon to salon, but a tour package is a nice reintroduction back to mom. And how you do this, of course, you do it in your media, whether it's email or text or whatever, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But you say to her, okay, you can tan in every bed for only $69. That's one tan in each bed. It's a $159 value or a 57% discount. Notice 57% discount. You should have those kinds of discounts or more because Groupon and Living Social are all around us all the time giving 50% discounts. So we want to make sure that that discount sticks out. And then, of course, after mom goes on a tour, that's the best part about it is it's easier to sell her on her favorite tanning level from that tour. You can get the Escape Special. Mom can tan 3 times each week for the month of September for only $19.95. Of course, she's in level 1 equipment. So you spend a few times in level 1 equipment, you're going to want to go up. Now, you could do the same thing, a different price level for somebody that is used to being in the level 2, 3, or high pressure bed. You can put a special price on that as long as you leave yourself some room for some upsell to another higher piece of equipment. But this, again, is another special that you can put out an email. And believe me, we've done this special before, and it does draw attention. How about the Lotion Notion deal? Tony, I stole that from your module. How about a totally free $60 value bottle of luxury? I like to put the word luxury in there. Luxury tanning lotion when you buy any membership. Again, look at the cost revenue advantage. $60 bottle of lotion, what does it cost you? $20. If you can get them on any membership, I mean even level 1, you're going to come out on that deal. Okay, mom's friend. Mom buys a super bed session at 50% off when she brings a friend who tans free. But the friend agrees to join salon email and text list. It's well worth it. If she brings that friend in and she tans in that super bed, there's a very good chance that you're going to get her back, or you can sell her to come back on that package. This is a good draw for mom. And, you know, if mom's got some extra time, a neighbor across the street, maybe it's a good friend, instead of having that second cup of coffee, they can come in there and get tanned, and you've signed up another person to your email or your text list. Okay, what to do for mom? How about a free daycare package? Daycare for a week. Oh, people on this call right now saying, John, what are you smoking? But just think about this. Let's say that we're going to pay up to $300 to the winner for daycare, and you pay it to the daycare where their kids go. You don't give them $300 cash because you want to make sure that it gets used for what it's supposed to get used for. Now, the reason that this is important is that research has shown in advertising, and like Advertising Age, which is a big advertising research company, if you told somebody that you're going to give them $300 cash in a contest, what they would do is take the $300 cash and they would feel obligated to pay for bills, groceries, or whatever. But if you tell them that that $300 is going to go to daycare, they're going to really feel good about it because it's something they know they have to take care of, and it's just, it gets you psychologically, it gets you so much more attention to connect it to daycare. So we've run this contest before, and we get a lot of entries. And then just so there's other people that are winning it, and you pick the number, how about 15 second place prizes of 2 weeks of free tanning? Entry-level equipment, of course. So in 2 weeks of free tanning, someone's going to get tired of being in that entry-level bed, and gives you the great opportunity after their 3rd or 4th tan to get them to sell them to a package that's to the levels 2 or 3. But this is what you want. You want butts and beds, and we don't really care so much about that week or 2 of free tanning because we're trying to get market share. We're trying to put them in a position where we can upsell them. Okay, how about a free, and this is just our kind of copy we use when we're talking about spray tans, a free body smoothie. Again, we're trying to use the language that we hope the consumer, the female consumer, will say, oh, a body smoothie, that sounds pretty cool. An overall instant sunless tan with the purchase of any UV tanning package. So she buys even a 30-day unlimited. She gets a free spray sunless tan. Now, this is not custom airbrush, a lot of labor involved there. We're just talking about booth. Works, though. Free September Saturday upgrades for mom. Now, all of these things I'm giving you are basically for the back-to-school period from mid-August through September. You could do them the other times of the year if you want to do it too, but we're just concentrating right now on back-to-school when mom supposedly has a little bit more time. But Free September Saturday gives her upgrades on Saturday morning, and you hold it to just Saturday morning. She can go into Saturday morning and get free upgrades. And you're saying, well, how do we identify if she's a mom or not? Well, she will have gotten our email or gotten your text message, and even if she lies about being a mom, so what's the big deal giving her a free upgrade? She's back in the salon. That's what counts. And if she's getting an upgrade from the level she's in right now, she's prime target for selling to that upgrade. And remember what I've said many, many times over the years, we in the salon business are not in the business of selling upgrades. We are in the business of selling upgraded levels. That's what we need to get people to. If you got to give up an upgrade to get somebody into that upgraded level. Now, if you come back to me, and I had a client come back to me a couple months ago and said, well, but that doesn't work for me because we're not good at selling upgraded levels. Well, then then you got bigger problems than giving away a few upgrades. Okay, let's see here if what if they have a package that covers all. What if they have a package that covers all the beds? Okay, so if they have a package that covers all of the beds, what you could and Susan, you're asking if it covers all the beds. Does that include spray tanning? So if you want to answer me back on that. Maybe what we have to do in that case, Susan, and for mom, is to up the ante on what she can do for one of her friends. Because again, we're trying to do a little bit of viral activity here, get these folks to bring their friends in with them. And I can see, I can see a mom and a friend coming in on a Saturday morning to get a free upgrade. So is Susan getting ready to answer that? I'm going to move on here. Let's see what to do for mom. How about a BOGO? Buy one, get one. Mom can buy any package and get the second of the same value for half off. Well, it's not exactly a buy one, get one free, but it's this is a package that I have several salons that are running. Some do better with this than others. Some will just do it where it's buy one, get one, and they do very well with that. They do it twice a year, and they really sell a lot of those packages. How about 100% rebate? Buy any lotion. This, by the way, South Beach, Brian down in Florida, in Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, he does this about 2 or 3 times a year. You buy any lotion and you get your money back in bonus bucks. So whatever it is that you spend, you get it back, but it's in-store credit is what it is. Okay, so what do we do for students? We're talking about mom here. So first, let's understand who we're talking about when we're talking about students. And it's like I want to scream, the millennials are coming, the millennials are coming. And what is a millennial? Well, a millennial, we get to this, is we have to understand that generation. Millennials are consumers. And again, we were talking about this because these are the meat of our students. Consumers born between 1980 and the year 2000. Now me, I'm an old fart. I am, let's see, my folks were the greatest generation. I am the baby boomers, and then I think David, you and Tony, aren't you the X generation?
That's right.
Yeah, I think you're the X generation. Yeah,
Yeah,
David was born before 1980, or he was hatched. I can't remember. But anyway, if you're born between 1980 and 2000, you're part of the millennial generation. And what is unique about them? If you're going to try to sell to them, you need to understand they have different values than certainly my generation, and Tony, I don't know if you feel different from your generation, but for mine, very different. Not that they're bad, they're just different. We were a lot more materialistic. I think the Depression-era parents that I grew up with insisted that we have everything, and maybe that was good and maybe it wasn't good, so we were pretty materialistic, and we were just plain evil. What can I tell you? Now, and the difference is with the millennials, they tend to work to live, not necessarily live to work. They're not as material as previous generations. So the exception is their drive to have the latest and greatest. I mean, it is amazing when you see a 10-year-old child that is wrestling, argue passionately with his mother or father that he's got to have the the latest iPhone or the latest Droid out there, the one that will do everything but brush their teeth. It is just amazing, but that's it. They're used to it, and it's because they're raised with it. They're raised in the tech age of computer labs. Hey, when I went through school, we were using slide rules, and we had to walk through 2 feet of snow. Well, you know that. But they're used to computer labs and instant gratification, and national advertising bores the you-know-what out of them. They just don't like it, and that's why you see, by the way, an enormous change. It started with the X generation, and also to the millennials. When you look at big events like the Super Bowl, I mean, a huge percentage of people watch the Super Bowl not to really ever look at a football pass, but to look at the advertisements. And that's a thing, by the way, that I want to stress in your advertising. Your advertising needs to be creative. It needs to be funny. When we do radio ads, we always go for the humor. Because I don't know about the rest of you, but when I listen to car ads, most of the car ads I see on television, I reach for the button to switch to another channel because they're so damn boring. And this generation, particularly, this generation gets bored very easily. They desire meaningful careers in work and not just a paycheck. See, in my generation, if you got a job, you felt like you were lucky, and we just didn't look at it that way. But it's different today. These people have so many more choices than we had when I was a kid. So that means, people, you need to be the employer of choice. They don't need to stay with you. They can tell you to take a hike in a heartbeat if they think it's boring, or if they particularly think that you're being a boss, spelled backwards, double S-O-B. If they think that, they're going to leave. These people also have eco-passions. They're wondering if there will be a planet left when they're old like me. I'm kind of wondering if there'll be a planet left. They want explanations. This is a group that wants explanations, not dictations. When I was a kid in the entry-level labor market, my bosses didn't give me a lot of explanations. They just said, sweep the floor or clean out the toilets, and didn't tell me why or whatever. These people want you to use logic and not threats. So sometimes, of course, as we all know, we have to be the boss, and sometimes these people have just got to be cut loose because they just have poor work values. Some of them do. And so, but in general, logic can work. Remember, these people were definitely smarter than we were at that age, because they were already into computers and already putting together a linear line of logic on things. So they're pretty smart people, and I think it's better to use the logic than threats. Now, is price important to them? Yes, price is important, but truth, and that's why you see them get very cynical on advertisements, and real value are a key to their purchasing. Deceptive bait and switch offers will turn them off. What I see sometimes in salon advertising is where it'll say free this or free that, and then, of course, in the smaller type is when you buy this. Now, that's, of course, been a tactic that's been used in advertising for generations, but I know that in the research I read, it turns them off. They don't like that. They just want to hear what's real, and let's get on with it. Okay. So, selling the millennial generation media essentials. And here are some of the essentials. Of course, Facebook, duh. You got to have Facebook, and you've got to really do a job with it. Now, I want to tell you, in your staff that you have, if you have a staff of, let's say, 6 people, and you have a manager, one of the challenges a lot of you folks hit me with all the time is, well, how do I show any kind of a career path or any kind of a set of promotions to people when I have one manager? I've only got 5 other employees. But you can have captains. You can have captains of certain areas. And I had an owner say to me yesterday, I asked him, I said, well, who takes care of, who's your captain for Facebook? He said, well, I guess I am. Now, let's be honest about it. Anybody that is anywhere near my age, now this owner was in his late 40s, early 50s, probably shouldn't be the Facebook captain. Facebook captain should be a younger person that is a Facebook freak. We have a Facebook freak that helps us. Rowena is a freak. And, well, David, you're kind of a Facebook freak too. You're really into it. And that's what really every salon needs. You need a Facebook freak. And let's say you pay them $50 a month more just to do that. Wouldn't it be worth it if you could take your likes from 200 to 450 inside of a couple months, which is very easy to do? Brian, Hibbert down at South Beach Tan, down in Florida. And David, I don't know if you remember this number, but at one time I think he had about 600 likes, and then he did this Powerball promotion. And I think now, the last I saw, he was up to 17,000 likes. Of course, he's got 16 stores. But I mean, it can be done, but you need somebody to concentrate on it. So when it comes to Facebook, it's good to have somebody and your staff that loves it, does it, and you give them goals. You give them goals for the number of likes you want them to get up to. Smartphones, more than 90% of students have cell phones, and 80% of them have smartphones. So smartphone marketing is becoming huge. And David and I are going to show you something on that in a minute. Websites, of course, are important, but mobile websites are even more so. And then that'll be another spot for one of your captains, one of your people. You can't promote everybody, but actually having them be a captain should be kind of a promotion. You should have somebody that's the captain of your website. Unless you as an owner, you think you've got plenty of time, great. But remember, websites have got to be something that you should be taking care of, just like Facebook, every day. Text messaging is huge. I would caution, be careful not to overdo it, and make the offers unique. I get a lot of text messages from a lot of salons, and some of them are just absolute fluff, and I know that people are just, they're deleting them the minute they get them. Mobile instant coupons are great for upgraded experience and building your email and text base. And what a mobile instant coupon is something that the consumer can use when they come up to the counter to get that free upgrade you're going to give them. And but yet to get that, they've got to text into, let's say it's Exotic Tan 90210, and then they have to opt in to be on your text club and your email club. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit here too. And if we don't get to that, by the way, David's a mensch on all of this stuff. He can tell you a lot about it. Now, most print media is not effective. Exceptions are some campus publications and dorm boards. We have a client up in St. Paul, Minnesota, who's got 5 colleges within 6 miles from him, and he's got a couple big colleges that have dorm boards right on the outside of every student's door, and they can make little notes on there. Well, around the perimeter, they have advertising on there, and he's the only tanning salon that's on there. It's pretty cool, and it looks like it's pretty effective. Some radio formats are still very impactful. CHR is contemporary hit radio. Regardless of what you hear, radio is not dead. Radio will be here long after all of us are dead. Radio gets to 93% of the population every week. But contemporary hit radio or contemporary country or hot AC, that's the way to go. So, by the way, on October the 3rd is a webinar on radio. For all of you that use radio or you want to use radio, I'll tell you how to do it. I'll tell you how to get a lot more for your money. Email. Email is a must, but it needs consistency and meaningful value, not fluff. Talked to a retailer the other day, hasn't sent out an email in 60 days, and that doesn't do it. You got to keep it consistent, but it also has to be meaningful. It can't be like I mentioned before, fluff. Okay, selling the millennial generation, Facebook. Every salon needs that staff Facebook captain. They need the time to be educated, and they need rewards for growth and likes and reactivity. So you got to give them some time to learn Facebook if they don't know it well enough. There's certainly I don't know, David, if you'd guess, there's probably a couple hundred tutorials out there on YouTube about Facebook. I mean, you can there's so much material on how to better use it, but you need to have somebody that's your Facebook captain. The keys to Facebook: using graphics, pictures, people, social, conversations. Think of your Facebook as a social billboard that attracts the millennial generation looking for information and interaction. When you get you just happen to get ad impressions off of it. And remember that the studies show that the consumers will accept an 80-20 rule. They'll accept 80% social, 20% commercial. Unfortunately, most of the Facebooks that David and I see from clients are pretty much the other way around. It is offer after offer after offer without a whole lot of social. This is the epitome of social media. Facebook is the epitome. People want to go on there and see pictures. They want to tell someone else they went to the store to buy a jar of pickles. Why? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to an old dog like me. But in pictures, you should have pictures maybe of your new equipment up there. I love to see pictures of salon staff. And by the way, this is really a killer. To put pictures of salon staff up there with their first name and do a little bio on them. Nothing personal that can lead to a stalker going after them. But Lisa is from Gillette, Wyoming, originally. She likes dogs. It's something to get people to have commonality with your staff. The more commonality they have with your staff, the more they can identify from them. They'll think they're buying from somebody they know, like, and trust. That's a key. There is no definitive study for the tanning business that equates likes with consumer purchasing, but likes are quality consumer gross impressions. So if you're going to have a Facebook captain, that's got to be one of their biggest goals, is to get the likes up. You have to have a contest app, and we're right now running the Dog Days of Summer, which I'm going to show you here in a minute. Matter of fact, I think I'll show you right now. There it is. Tropicana, my client down in Nashville, and Alex, if you're on, I apologize for not using the other picture, because the other one is even cuter than this. It's a bulldog with sunglasses. But I love this. This is an email that Alex has sent out to all of his clients and is putting on his Facebook, and believe me, he is going to get a ton of people sending in their dog photos. Now, what does this have to do with tanning? It doesn't have a damn thing to do with tanning. It has to do with people and feeling something common with you. They'll love it. People will go to his Facebook. They'll go to his website. They'll be looking at these pictures. They'll be comparing their dog pictures with others. And I believe, Alex, and if Alex, you're on, you can comment coming back here, but I believe we cut it off on the 24th of August, and they have 1 week to vote. And then whoever wins this, who's voted by the people that are on there, they have the best looking dog picture, they get free tanning for the rest of the year, which is not a big cost to us because, tanning's down anyway. So, but I just think that's really cute. I love it. We've done it before. It works very, very well. People are nuts about their dogs. I'm surprised my 2 golden retrievers aren't in here right now. The small 90-pound one up on my lap. Okay, so back to selling the millennium. How about websites? These students, they want to see something professional. They want to see a professional perception. They may be looking for a cheap price at times, but they want it to be professional, and they're looking for a professionally designed website. There's too much competition out there, people, for you to take a website that someone slops together. It used to work maybe 5 years ago. It doesn't now. The keys with with websites, I should say, same as Facebook, graphics, pictures, people, staff pictures work really good, and posts. You've got to keep the information fresh, got to keep it going all the time, and your ad impressions that you get off it are basically secondary. Don't let your website activity grow old. I'm guilty of that at times. I need to set up things that are more automatic, so it keeps it up there. And David, because he handles my website for me, he gives me a Google Analytics report on my website, and it is, I got to tell you, Tony, I don't know if you guys, Tony, if you've done a Google Analytics on the Sun is Life website since we started this series 8 months ago, whatever, but since we started this series, my website activity has just gone through the ceiling. I mean, the visits, the page views, the time that they spend on it. This is what you guys should do out there on your website. Go for a Google Analytics report and watch what's happening to your traffic. But as you do more of this stuff where you've got more graphics and pictures and interaction, your traffic is going to go up dramatically. Okay, text messaging, just a little bit about that. Again, I think you need a captain, for text messaging. The keys, God, I think we got a wrong page on here. Yes, we do. So my apologies for that. Contest, here, we'll get back to that in a sec. Oh, I know what it is. Okay, we're going to show you this. Okay. Now, text messaging. Let's talk about mobile websites. Here's a picture of some smartphones, and you see on the left, this is a smartphone that's trying to look at a normal website. And if you've ever tried to do this, you know that it's thumbs and fingers, and you got to expand it to get it in, to read it on your phone. You see how small the type is. On the right is a mobile website version. And David, I think at this point, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can give them a live demonstration of an actual tanning salon that we've worked with and what the difference looks like. So I'm going to, I'm no longer the presenter, thank you, okay, and you're going to take over.
Okay, great. Yeah. So yeah, I want to start just in Google Analytics real quick and just kind of, enlighten folks that maybe aren't aware of how much traffic they really are getting from mobile website or from mobile devices, I should say. So this is kind of an anonymous. I'm not going to tell you who our client is that has has this analytics running right here, but basically we've got this set for yesterday here for 1 day's time. Then basically they had 378 visits. Now, if you break those down, 196 of them were from a desktop computer, 149 were from mobile devices, and 33 were from tablets such as the iPad and Amazon Kindle. So over here is a pie chart, and you'll see desktop, is the majority, but not by much. It's very close between. If you combine mobile and tablets, it's pretty close to being almost 50-50 there. So, if you haven't checked your analytics, you really should check that just to, just so you don't take our word for it. But you can clearly see that a good chunk of that traffic is coming from mobile devices. So let's just do a quick little demonstration here. Let's bring up a website here. And let's see here. So this is a website of a client of ours here, and it's not one that we actually designed. We're doing their email marketing, and that's it. But their website is not mobile friendly. See how it looks fine on the computer? It looks great, actually, right? So let me bring up my smartphone here, and hopefully.
And this is live. You're doing this as we're watching.
Yeah, you guys can see this,
David,
right?
be careful that spankme.com doesn't come up.
Okay, all right. I already deleted that from the history. So.
Okay, fine.
If we go to their page here on my smartphone, it's the same exact website, but you'll notice how it's very small. To read stuff, I'm going to have to pinch and zoom with my fingers, and then I'll have to scan left to right quite a bit here.
Oh, and I hate that, David. I hate that because I don't know about anybody else on this phone, but maybe it's just me that my dexterity is somewhere in an ash can. But when I try to do that, expand and move it around, I swear to God, that thing always goes back to the original page. I do it too much or something, I lose it, and I got to come back, and I hate that. That's just such a pain in the neck.
Well, it's frustrating as a mobile user because typically you're going to the mobile site in a quick fashion, and you don't really have a lot of time to sit there and pinch and zoom and navigate around. And that's another point, too, I'd like to make. It is hard to navigate. If you look at how small the links are up here, especially if you have larger fingers. But, yeah, they're quite difficult to tap on those links, actually. I'm trying to right now with my finger click on. There we go. Finally, I got beds and packages there. I was able to click on that. So, and once again, the pricing is very small. To really see the pricing, I would have to zoom up and kind of move around like that. So that's what it looks like on it's a great looking website, but just not necessarily mobile optimized, so not really mobile friendly. Let's take a look at another one of our clients. Now this one we actually did do their website, so we're going to kind of show you both here.
Is this Mr. Alex?
It is.
So Alex, we're getting tired of complimenting you, okay? I mean, if you're on the phone here, enough's enough, buddy.
So here is Alex's main website, okay? And I'm going to bring up the emulator again. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Tropicana.com now. If I do that from a mobile device, his website actually automatically detects that I'm coming from a mobile device and shows us the mobile website. You'll see right up here now it says m.tropicana.com, and you'll see it's mobilized, mobile friendly, even has a tap to call button right there. If I tap that, that will actually open up my call dialer, and I can just go ahead and call them right away, call the salon right away. So you can do a lot of cool things like that when you have a separate mobile website. You can have things like tap to call, and really cool things that are kind of catering to the mobile crowd there. And notice it's a scaled down version of the site. There's when you're a mobile user, you just want certain information quick, and you want it now. For example, you probably want to know the hours. I mean, that's probably, if not the number one thing someone on a mobile device is looking for, it's up there. And then of course, we've got the hot deals here. This is an email sign-up form, so they can sign up for the email club right there. And right behind ours is the location, as far as probably the number 2 most requested item on the mobile website is, trying to find the location.
Sure.
So, let's see, what was the, oh yeah, and then one more thing. I'm going to show you what Tropicana's website looks like, if we do it throughout the, without the mobile site here. So right at the bottom, it might be a little bit difficult to see. It says View Full Site. So just go ahead and click on that. And what this is going to do is actually open up the full site in the browser, because sometimes mobile users still want to be able to see everything that's on the full site. So that's another quick tip is, if you do have a mobile website, it's real nice to have that option someplace to view the full site. And that's, I think that's it.
Well, but the point you're making is now you're looking at the full site there, and it's mice type. So again, I got to go down there and I got to expand it, and I appreciate what you're saying, that you need give them the option that they can look at the full site. But my old eyes, I'd have to go down there and expand that thing, and just pain in the neck. So, but anyway, that's one of the things that we do is mobile sites. And okay, so David, is it back to me now?
We'll go ahead and switch it back to you.
Okay. And Alex, if you're on, you want to send us a note here, buddy? I didn't see you in the comments here. We're trying to talk nice about you. Now, Suzanne wanted to know, David, how do you get a mobile site? And Suzanne, just give us a call. Give David a call. And matter of fact, David, we don't have your direct, well, she can come through my website, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so just come through my website, and you'll see it at the end here, Suzanne. We'll show you that. Okay, so mobile websites, standard and mobile. Okay, so let's move on. We're talking about these students again. Text messaging, mobile coupons. Text works because of the nature of the immediate reads versus other media. There's no question. There's no question for any of us that we tend to look at a text message much faster than we do email. And so it's important from that point of view. The keys, of course, is that you use it for deals that have a short window of opportunity. So I know that there are salons that will get to a point, say 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The business has been down a little bit that day. They may send out a text message that says, come in by 6 o'clock and your spray tan is half price. Or you can spray in our big bed for half price or whatever. But it's something that is done with a more urgent response. You wouldn't put a deal on there that's good for the next 30 days. That's the thing about text messaging. It's good for like right now. You need to be strategic. Use text sparingly because the weight of text that students get on a day-to-day basis. Now, I myself, in my rather ancient generation, I can't begin to tell you how many texts I get a day. And when this first came up years ago, I was dragged into this generation kicking and screaming. But I love it. I mean, I use text all the time. These kids, these students, I mean, I have seen two of my grandchildren text each other from across the table at Thanksgiving. And it's just, I don't quite get that, as opposed to just saying, telling them they hate each other and verbally, But anyway, but you need to use it sparingly because they're getting too many texts. The deals that you put on in text has to have a wow nature. If you don't put something, I see text come across from the clients at times, and it's ho-hum, and people are not going to react to it. And if they keep seeing text messages come from you that are ho-hum, they're eventually going to get off your text list. And, okay. Alex says, David, he's on. He says he's talking to himself. Okay. All right, Alex, that's fine if you want to do that. That's great. Oh, and Savannah. Oh, Savannah. By the way, Savannah is his killer manager. Absolutely killer. I mean, I don't mean she's a felon, anything like that. I mean, she's a fantastic manager. And Savannah's saying, if Alex isn't on, I'm on. See? It's good to have backup, isn't it, Alex? Okay. Texting and mobile coupons can work very much hand in hand. Love to see it. Come up to the counter with a text, and you say, you can tan in this next bed, and it'll be on me today, but you have to have a coupon. Where do I get a coupon? Okay, type up Tropicana 90210. Bang! It's on the cell phone or the smartphone right in front of them, and they have to opt into both email and to text club. It works really good.
You can also use a QR code, by the way, as well.
Yes, and by the way, we didn't talk, and thank you, David, we did not talk about QR codes, because we're developing a strategy for you for QR codes that is absolute killer. I think we're going to try to sandwich it in, maybe even on the next webinar, because QR codes is getting bigger and bigger. Okay, now that to some people print media still does matter, and my friend and client up there in Minneapolis or St. Paul, Dan Polanco, he's got a deal with the colleges up there where it's individual dorm room note boards that is really cool. It's on the back of every room. It's a little board and it's got advertising around it. He's the only tanning salon, and what can happen is these students write notes to each other, you know, see you over for a beer here, or I'll meet you at TanWorks, or blah blah blah. Really cool, and it's not that expensive. So if you work with colleges and they have these dorm note boards, you should look into it, look into the price. Here's something that Dan uses, and I've got a half a dozen other clients who use it, a College Express debit card. And it allows parents to load and reload college student debit cards for their personal use. Now, parents, of course, are assuming that the student is going to use it to eat with. Silly parents. But anyway, those cards are used for a multitude of things, including tanning salons. And you have to put one of their readers in your salon, but it's well worth it, because I think Dan has got an exclusive on this with several of the colleges up there, and it's a good part of his revenue. And some universities still maintain a weekly or even daily printed newspaper. I went to the University of Minnesota, the big diploma mill up there in the Twin Cities, and as of even a couple of years ago, they were putting out 25,000 copies of the Minnesota Daily every day. Now, a lot of those were rack papers. Some of those never were seen by people, but still the physical paper is still an important thing in a lot of universities, but of course it is fading over to smartphone availability. And this is what one of those ads looks like that we put in a college paper, and we put a contest in there. How would you like to win a year's worth of free tanning? And what would you do if you jump off the Washington Avenue Bridge, streak through the mall, drink a gallon of sheep livers? Now, I didn't come up with this. This was somebody at the Minnesota Daily, and he was obviously smoking something when he came up with drink a gallon of sheep livers, but it did get some attention, and we got a lot of people registering for it. Okay. If I can get this thing to work. Come on, you. I guess the sheep livers broke it. Okay. Media essentials. Radio. Radio reaches more than 93% of Americans every week. It has schedule flexibility. It's a low or no cost of production. You don't have to worry about producing new ads. The cost per consumer contact is lowest of all paid media. Audience reach is customizable to gender and age. And there's a few of you on the phone here that are clients of mine that know exactly what I'm talking about, because you deal with radio. Radio now has strong social and digital presence to match its terrestrial reach, large listener clubs. Radio can be cheapest when the tanning industry is entering its peak season. Radio is the most expensive in fourth quarter, but you get into January, February, March, they have extra inventory, and I love negotiating with radio for those first 90 to 120 days because it is super cheap compared to the fourth quarter or over the summer. Live radio broadcast still outreaches other forms of student music plays. I don't care what it is. Even if you want to talk about satellite radio isn't a bump on the butt of an elephant compared to regular terrestrial radio. Radio is still huge. It'll be here long after we're gone. They predicted when television came out that radio would be dead. They predicted radio would be dead 11 times. It's still around. October 3rd, I'm doing a special edition of Marketing Muscle, and it's going to be on radio, and I'm going to help you get a lot more bucks for your airtime for your bucks with radio than what you're getting right now. This is what a website looks like. This is down in Jackson, Mississippi. This is a website contest we tied in with our client down there, which was Solar 51. You registered to win for free tanning. We got a gargantuan number of people that signed up for that. And these, by the way, where we got most of our sign-ups was at his Clinton store, which is only half a mile away from Jackson, Mississippi. I forget the college. It has 6,000 students, and they're into all of this other stuff we're talking about, text messaging. But believe me, they're into radio because we got an enormous number of sign-ups for this. So, media essentials, radio. Come on, you. Why is this not moving now? Okay. we're getting down to the end here. Email marketing. The college generation is used to scanning information in seconds or milliseconds. Emails have to have values that jump out at them. The key to email marketing is to include a graphical representation that equates to fun, sun, and looking desirable, which is important at any age, but particularly important for 18 to 22-year-olds. Believe me, when they go back to campus, that's one of the first things they want to do is to get a tan to be desirable to somebody they're going to meet. Emailing must be consistent. It drives David and I crazy when a client comes in and says, well, I've got 2,000 emails. When's the last time you emailed? 3 months ago. And you got to tell them the bad news is that a lot of those 2,000 have now gone away because they haven't gotten an email. And then when they do get an email, they'll forget that they signed up for it. Don't use excessive text on your emails. Minimize the number of offers to avoid the deer in the headlights effect. A client of mine last week sent me his one of the emails he had done, and there was 11 different offers. There was no graphics on this at all, and it absolutely was a turnoff. Now, he's an expert on a lot of stuff I'm not an expert on. This is one of the things that I seem to know something about. And you want to make it 1 or 2 offers that are dominant on the email. I'll show you that in a second. Give customers a reward for joining your list. You got to give them a list reward, people, for joining your email list and your Facebook as well. Be aware also of your open rate. 12 to 15% on your email open rate is normal. Below 10% signals you need some help in juicing it up, and 25% or more is quite good. Here is an email that came out from a gentleman up in St. Paul. He's under a different name now, but this is one that he sent out, which wasn't bad. It's got a couple main offers, the 5 free tans, the Mystic Tan, which get one, buy one, get one free. This is something that a student or anybody is going to look at and is going to assimilate pretty quickly, and that's what you want. Let's talk about some offers for students, and we talked about mom before. I love free tan weeks. A free tan week, especially in the first or second week of the fall term. Let's tan them free all week in level 1 beds. That grabs market share, offers great opportunities for upselling and membership tie-ins. Student EFTs. We've done this with several clients where we have a student EFT. I'm going to show you the math on that in just a minute because it's better off to get them signed up for the year. Here's an example. Let's assume that your PCA, your per customer average for over the year, is about $70. That's what your average customer, number of unique customers divided into your total revenues. And let's say it's about $70. And your normal level 1 EFT is $24.95. And I'm suggesting, what if you have a student EFT at $17.95? Now, why do you do that? Students want quality, but they also are on a budget and they're looking for price. A student EFT at $17.95 gives you a marketing advantage there over your competition. You can flood your emails with it. They have to show their college ID, of course. Now, on a normal student, what you see a lot of is students will buy 2 30-day passes sometime in the fall term. And let's say that they do a $39.95 or a total of $79.80. And then it ends up that's maybe all you're going to see. Maybe you'll see them buy one other, maybe it's a sessions package, not 30 days, they'll buy 10 sessions or whatever. For a full school year commitment, if they get on an EFT in September because you've offered them this student EFT, and they take it through April, because you're not going to see them go through May, and they're going to take their finals in May, and they're going to be gone. But if you get them on for 8 months at $17.95, you're taking in $143, which is way, way above your per customer average. You should want to have all the students in the world you can get sign up for something like that. And it, like I said, it gives you a great marketing ploy to go out there with. I also like group discounts for fraternities, sororities, faculty, discounts for any Greek group or faculty supported by ID can spear wildfire to the rest of the campus members of those groups. And contests for a month or even a year of free tanning, again, we've done that many times, can be posted on Facebook, websites, email, lots of good stuff that happens there. Okay, progress report. I wanted to show you this before we get to the end of it. We did a little study here with clients on a year-to-date basis. On a year-to-date basis for all of our clients right now, total TANs are up about 2%. As everybody knows, TANs are not growing like they used to, but our average is 2%. And there's quite a range in that, by the way. We have some folks that are down 20% in TANs, other people that are up 30% in TANs. And there's a lot of reasons for it I can't go into right now. EFTs sales are up on average of 14%. there's really only one or two clients I can think of whose EFT sales are down. Most everybody's sales are up. Their PTA, their per TAN average, is up an average of $1.20. And if you're doing 30,000 transactions a year, that's a lot of money. And it's a lot of money with hardly any expense attached to it. LPPA, lotions up 35 cents as an average, and that includes some folks who have lost a lot of their LPPA. And as you know, as we've gone through kind of a rougher times in the tanning business, lotions have become a little bit harder, particularly the more expensive bottles to sell. And then the PCA, the average customer, the per unique customer, we're up $15 a year, and we're glad to see that because actually we started fairly high to begin with, so that's a good number. Revenues on average for our clients is up 11% from the same period last year. I can tell you this, and this is going to sound braggadocio, but I'm at that point. I've said it to Tony, and I've said it to David. If we're given the right opportunity, I really believe we can increase anybody's sales. We've pulled a lot of people back from the brink, and it's not because I'm so brilliant. It comes from the fact that everybody on this call are people like you. My clients have educated me, and all I'm doing is taking everything that you guys do right, and I'm repeating it for the next client. So, highest revenue increase of our clients was a 41% increase over last year. Alex is on this call, and Alex has just had. Alex, I got to get you on another call here, buddy. I tried to get you on the last two. I got to have you talk to people about the turnaround at Tropicana because you and Michelle and Savannah, you guys have done a fantastic job. So, okay, if you're going to need some help, we just need some numbers from you. If you just get us your PCA, your PTA, and your EFTs sold, we can read them, we can help you, and of course, as always, the package of freebies from our website is available. So I'm going to stop here for a minute, and do we have some questions that we have? And David, I see the whole question lineup. My gosh, there's all kinds of them here. It says, here's one, if I'm reading this, should we keep a PSA average of $2 per client during off-season? Okay. Savannah, I believe what you're asking about, again, let's make sure that we've got defined here. PSA, you're talking about lotions or products other than sessions or service. Of course, I could say yes or no very easily on either one of these, but let me just say that the time of the season, your position in the market as far as competition, and what you typically do. There are some salons that have a great reputation among their consumers for selling lotions. They trust that salon, and they buy more expensive lotions. So it's kind of all over the board. I think $2 in off season's a little bit aggressive. Certainly during the peak season, it could be more than that. But I think in the off season, my own opinion is $2 is a little bit aggressive. Now, if we're talking about, and let me just think if that's the Savannah that I think it is. Yes, that's the Savannah I'm thinking about. You guys tend to have a pretty high PTA anyway, so maybe $2 is a little high. It might be kind of a stretch, but for some salons right now, if they could stay at $1.25 or $1.10, because I can tell you right now, in this season right now that we're in right now, the average PSA or average LPPA, I think you're talking about LPPA there, Savannah. I think the average right now is closer to $1, $1.05. And it's just because there isn't that much passion about tanning right now, so people are not buying a lot of lotions. Okay, David, do we have, because I can't always see the full sheet here. Let me just check. I think, let's see. Let's keep on with protein. Well, if they have a package that comes in, let me assume I'm just mumbling here. I see that Tan Lines is on with us too. Dan, you're on with us. Dan is a client of ours out in Burbank, California. And Dan, I think David, didn't we look at his numbers, and didn't his website traffic go up pretty dramatically? You were
Yeah, it's quite impressive actually.
Yeah, Dan, nice job. Matter of fact, I'd be curious. I can't remember everything that he's done. I know that he's worked very hard at it, but I think he's probably been pretty aggressive on Facebook and the website. So, and I think we've answered, David, a lot of these questions. I'm going to go back and look here earlier. And while I'm looking, Tony, do you have some questions that you or comments that you'd like to make?
No, that was a well-presented presentation today. You did good with it, John.
Oh, well, all right. Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, listen, really.
Where do we mail the check?
Pardon me?
Where do we mail the check?
It's $50 every time there's a compliment. So now wait till the comment board goes up. It'll be amazing. Hey,
So
listen,
we do have a few more questions actually that just came in.
I probably missed them. Where are they, David?
They're at the bottom of the list. They just came in, starting with Rebecca.
Okay.
If you want, I can just read it
Rebecca?
to you. Or
Okay, I can see it. There it is. What do you think average EFT, PTA, and PCA should be in off-season? I heard you say LPA should be around $1. Well, again, when I say around, Rebecca, let me kind of go back on what I said there. I don't want to make it sound like I'm talking on both sides of my face here. When I said that the average is around $1, $1.05, I'm not saying that's what it should be. Because one of the things that we're going to show you guys in subsequent webinars is we're going to show you the results from Secret Shopper reports. And I'm saying it's $1 or $1.05 because, frankly, the Secret Shopper reports are terrible. Now, a new client that we had, we did Secret Shopper reports on his people, and points from 1 to 100, his new manager got an 81. She did very, very well. The national average is probably 55 because, frankly, there ain't a whole lot of selling going on when we do these reports. But he had 3 or 4 other people that were like 41 and 42. So your LPPA or nothing else is going to go up if no one's selling anything. So when I say it should be around $1, I'm not saying it should be there. I'm saying that's what it is. It's about $1 or $1.05. I think in off season it could easily be $1.25 or $1.50 if someone's selling something. So yeah, but your average EFT, now I assume, Rebecca, you're talking about EFT close rate, and during the peak season, that close rate should be up to probably 2 or 2+% of all transactions should be closed. That's the kind of thing you look for. Now, in the off season like this, it's going to be lower. It's going to be, in a lot of cases, in most salons, it's going to be considerably less than 1%. Just got some reports on a single salon roundtable that I'm doing with a select number of retailers. And by the way, if you'd like to be part of the single salon owners roundtable, please send me a message because we want some additional quality members in there. But looking at the averages that we got from those folks, it was considerably less than 1%, probably 0.6%. On per tan average, this time of the year, I don't know why you can't be $7. And then when you get into peak season, it should easily be $9. Of course, Alex is the show-off here because he's way above that. Nobody likes to show off, Alex. I mean, really. Which should your PCA be an off-season? Of course, you got 2 seasons. In the peak season, if you do about $60 in the peak season, January through June, you're going to do roughly half of that in the off-season because the peak season is usually about 2/3 of your revs. And it's actually a little bit more than 2/3 of your PCA because you just don't get, it's kind of hard to describe in this few seconds here, but your PCA will go down much more dramatically in that last 6 months. It doesn't mean that it has to. If somebody's selling, you can keep it up there. Okay, is there any way you can make available, the slide for the dog days of August? Actually, it's the dog days of summer, Marlene. And Mr. Alex, if you're still on the phone, if you're not all big fat headed from how well you're doing, Alex has just done a great job. Alex, if it's okay, send me back a message here that we can share with Marlene or anybody else the dog days of summer. So let us know. Marlene, he'll probably want a small fee for that. I don't think he will. Okay, here's a question. Any ideas how to get old inactive customers back into the salon? Rusty, I hope when you're talking old, you're not talking people my age. Thank you very much. Any ideas how to get old inactive customers back into the salon? Well, first of all, if you have their email, if you have their text or whatever, you can certainly try that. One of the things I would do, if you had an old inactive customer, I would qualify that inactive customer, how much business they did with you at one time. And if they were a significant customer, I would do a little phone marketing. I'd call them up and say, because I mean, if they spent $250 with you 1 year and then it fell to nothing, they're either dead, or they moved, or they went to your competition. And I'd like to know which one it is. If it's the first, send flowers. If they moved, look for a forwarding address. I don't know why. But if they went to your competition, you want to know that, and you want to try to give them something that's better than what their competition is getting them. So, and by the way, Rusty, on your question about inactive customers, something that I have preached on for a long time, and some of the customers that are on here, some of the clients that are on here know that I'm going to continue to preach on it. You need to take traffic counts on the competition. You know, the most significant competitor within 3 to 5 miles of your salon, take a traffic count. Go on Monday night between 4 and 7, which is really, you know, one of the bewitching hours of tanning after work. Count every man, woman, child that walks through the door and compare it to your number. Give you some kind of a crude market share on how you're doing versus them. Sometimes, by the way, if you do that, it can be a little humbling, because you'll think you're doing really great, and then you see this guy has got twice as many bodies walking through the door. Here's Marlene asking, do you prefer phone contact or letter form for inactive customers? Well, I would say, Marlene, that if you've got a couple hundred people that spent $50 with you the year before, you could try the letter form, where you're giving them a free week of tanning and talking nice to them. But if they had spent a lot of money at one time, there's a reason they left you. And then I think that would deserve a phone call. And plus, here's another thing, Marlene. Here's another thing. Let's say you have 200 people that spent $50. You and I both know at this time of the year, you know that your clerks, your sales consultants, are not dealing with customers every minute of the day. As a matter of fact, it's almost frightening to us as owners when we turn around and leave. We wonder how much time is being spent trying to sell customers and how much time is on Facebook, on their smartphones. So if they've got time for doing that, they've got time for pick up the phone and call, you know, half a dozen people. And by the way, I'd keep a log on it. I'd keep a log on it if one of your people calls an inactive customer and they come back in. Man, I'd give them a big fat kudo for that. No, not cooties, Tony, kudo. But I mean, I'd give him something for that. $10 bill or whatever. Okay, we've got to kind of move along here, guys, because we're really going over here, and I know some of you have to get back to your salons. But Rusty says, thank you. Any suggestion on how to compete against these low-ball price chains like ZoomTan? Oh, boy, do I hate that. Anybody have an iTan any place close to you, too? Yeah, ZoomTan, Rusty, there's a bunch of them up in upstate New York up there right now. My client up there, brain lock, John, my client, oh, Max Tan, hello. My client Max Tan up there, he's telling me about these ZoomTans coming into town. I think the big difference between a professionally run salon, which is what, Sun is Life is trying to get everybody to be, will be the differentiation between us and ZoomTan. At least for what I know, Rusty, a ZoomTan is not going to have somebody that's going to, when you come in the door, try to give you that rapport and the commonality and trying to find out what your tanning plans are, what you've done before in the past, try to walk you through the equipment, give you a tour, which this time of the year we can do tours. From what I understand, ZoomTan is fast food tanning. But I have to admit, Rusty, I don't know that much about them, but so far, from what I see with ZoomTan being opened up in Buffalo and Rochester, I don't think we've heard too bad up there from them so far. So, but who's to say? These places that are going to be open 24 hours, that's iTan, which is up in Minnesota, is open 24 hours a day, but they only have an attendant there, I think, until 7 o'clock in the evening or something like that. Now, personally, if I were a woman, I would not want to go tan in some place that has an attendant that's gone at 7 o'clock. Even though they use thumb imprints to get into the salon, that doesn't mean some wacko couldn't be, getting in behind somebody else. And you know where this goes. Who needs a stalker? To me, it's just ridiculous. Of course, there are certain people that'll sell equipment to anybody. So anyway, I think, guys, we have exhausted everything. I apologize that we ran over so much. I hope that it helped you today. Please fill out the survey when we're done. And David, any last comments you want to throw in?
No. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
I would encourage anybody on this call, if you want to talk tech stuff, you got to get a hold of David. I mean, this is what he lives for, I swear. Well, that and his wife and his dogs, but I mean, he's crazy on that. He drives me crazy with all this tech stuff. He's got new apps and stuff coming out that we're going to introduce to the biz here, but you should really try to get a hold of him. And Tony, I mean, if anybody is thinking about a comprehensive education and certification program, if they don't go to Sun is Life, they're crazy. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it's just what you put together is great.
Free.
I'm sorry, what?
I said that's what keeps this program free is people going to the website and actually logging into the classes.
Oh, I thought you were saying what keeps it going is that these people are crazy. No, I didn't think that's what you meant.
No, keeps the webinars free by doing that.
Okay, people, 2 weeks from today, dedication to delegation. We're going to make you better leaders because you're able to spread. And that's kind of that captain thing I talked about. Let's have a captain, somebody that handles your Facebook and handles your website. If you're an owner and you're trying to do all of that stuff, believe it, it's not going to work. Hand it over to wizards like people like David or Savannah for Alex. She knows that stuff. I mean, I could name you a whole bunch of Savannahs around the industry that do that for their owners, and it makes all the difference in the world. So anyway, people, thank you for being such a great audience, very interactive audience today. We'll see you 2 weeks from today, and let's just keep this going. We're going to have, 22 webinars done by the end of this year, I think, Tony? And this was the biggest crowd we'd ever had. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.